Are off on the pace cars. They come out of turn number 4. Pace car will be making the hard left turn, putting the field in the hands of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He got that position by being the fastest in the first practice. No qualifying, set the order by practice on Friday. We welcome you back to NASCAR on NBC as they make their way into the tri-oval. Green flag back in the air. Kyle Larson, the first to jump out of line in that 42, makes it 3 wide as they come out of turn number 2.
He'll have to have somebody go with him. If not, he'll fall back. You see Busch trying to pull up on him as a 3 wide getting into 3.
And they were 4 wide. Jamie McMurray had to go down below the double yellow line, but he was just trying to avoid being involved in an accident. Now it's Austin Dillon on the high side with the momentum. Dillon wants to take the lead at Daytona. The 3 leading at Daytona, the first lap of the Coke 0400. There's the vantage point of Kyle Larson as he looks forward to the 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
That gives you a great perspective of just how low the rear of these cars are to the racetrack. You see the 48. It kind of comes up a little bit on the straightaway. As we get down here into turn 3, though, you're going to watch that rear bumper travel down into the corner as it gets closer to the racetrack. You see right there, that's just the force pushing down on that car as it enters the corner.
Austin Dillon jumped out front. He's been able to lead Paul Menard, Dale Earnhardt Jr., David Gilliland, Clint Boyer, your top 5.
You saw Austin when he took the lead, he immediately went to the bottom. We saw in last night's race, the bottom was the best. After watching that, I believe he thinks that's what he wants to do tonight. Even though his teammate helped pushed him to the lead, he kind of hung him out, hung a left, put his car on the bottom.
3 wide behind him. Have you noticed already Austin Dillon is blocking? He's running the high line, he's running the low line, trying to stay in front.
And that's what you have to do at plate racing. If you're not willing to block, you're not going to keep this lead, and you will not win this race tonight. You have to, whatever lane's coming, you have to turn and get in front of that lane. We saw it. We see it done correctly there. If it's done incorrectly, there'll be a wreck.
And around they go. The 38 goes sideways. David Gilliland sideways as they come out of turn number 4. Also involved, the 22 of Logano. The 32. Multiple cars involved in this one. Joey Logano damaged to the right rear. It's the 26 of Jeb Burton involved. Saw the 38 of Gilliland. The 10 of Danica Patrick. Looks like she has damage to the right side.
The field out of 2. Litter's bad. 10 away.
Sheet metal about to fall off the 22. Also some damage on the 46 of Michael Annett. Let's look back to what had just happened. Coming out of turn number 4.
You see right here the 38's coming down to change lanes. There isn't room. He comes across the front bumper of the 15, spins him to the bottom, and the field very tight. You see farther back into the field, the 16 and the 10 get into the back, and the 22 spinners up across the track. And that's what happens in these tight packs. When there's a spin way up in front of the pack, everyone gets out of the gas, and it's so hard when you're only a couple feet apart. Another hard impact there with the 32 and the 38. When you're that close, you don't have enough room. If you don't slow down the exact same rate, someone gets spun out.
And you see right here, David, he's one to be on the bottom of the racetrack. He wants to get behind the 88 because he thinks that's the best line, but he just doesn't have it synced up. He did not get a good view of the 15, turned down on the 15s. Nothing Clint Boyer could do right there. All he could do is get into him, and then everything behind him was just as a result of trying to miss this wreck. Give it right with Tony Stewart. Coming off turn 4, he sees the smoke, slow it down.
Come all the way down if you want to. Slow down right there. Slow down. Come on, come on.
Riding on the 10 car.
Stay in, back it down, back it down, back it down. Stay high, you're all good.
right along with Eric Almirola.
They're by themselves. Still outside. Spin. Very bottom. Just stay high. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. You're all good. You're all good. Braked hard.
And you could hear in that, you could hear Eric Almirola lift off the throttle. You could hear him slowing down, and the guys behind him, they just couldn't get. You saw Joey Logano trying to slow down. Somebody got into the back of him, got him turned around. That's a typical Daytona wreck right there. Dave, you got some on the 22?
And now it's damage control time for the chase-safe Daytona 500 winner, Joey Logano. They'll put an entire right rear quarter panel on that car that came off of the crash cart behind their pit box. They asked Joey if the wheel was straight. He said it's a little off. That may be of concern as they try to get him back out there. We've seen damaged cars go back to the front here at Daytona. Don't know if it'll be the case tonight. He's already lost one lap.
Jimmy moved down the track to try to block that too, but here comes Brad. Brad moving up into the top 3. Marty.
Rick, we've talked about all weekend long this debate about how Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson approach these restrictor plate races. I asked Jimmy about it earlier today, and he said actually Jeff Gordon asked about it in the competition meeting Friday. He said, why do you guys always want to run by yourself? How are you ever going to learn how your car will react right here when it's
Kyle Busch into the wall, Marty. Kyle Busch gets into the wall. We just mentioned how he potentially would have to be cautious. He can't have a bad finish.
Stay up there for about 15 more.
And into the wall goes Kyle Busch.
This is not what this team needed. They needed a clean run out of Daytona after their win last week. Got themselves a win opportunity to make the chase, but they can't have bad races. There are only 10 races left to gain points to try to get in that top 30. This is not what they needed.
Come on down.
It was projected that they would have to average a 14th place finish the remaining 10 races before the chase.
Not bad. Tires, rear fenders. Yep, tires and fenders right side.
We're still on the green. The caution did not come out for this incident.
So we stay green, and that is bad for the 18, as he's going to start losing laps now.
You see him get on the outside of McMurray. He just gets loose. Just got in the corner, got loose, and bounced it up against the wall. Nobody got into him. But you know what? That's not uncommon here. Right in getting into turn 1, you lose a lot of grip. You can see the back end get around on him. He has to chase it. There's nowhere to go. The only thing he can do is hit the wall.
So they go to work on the right side of the 18. We stay green. Carl Edwards, a wild ride coming out of turn number 4. He gets it going straight once again. He was running in the 13th position. It looks like a one-car incident. The yellow flag has come out. But a crazy ride for Carl Edwards as he exited turn number 4. Let's take a look at how this happened.
You can see him, he just got loose all by himself, and now he's got it locked down. He's on all that asphalt. You know, we talked about getting grass out of racetracks. That's why right there he was able to keep control. He did make a little bit of contact. You can see the rear quarter panel bent, but not nearly as bad as it would have been with the grass down there.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, you see him right here, kind of 3 wide, almost 3 wide outside the 20, and you see he starts correcting it. He just loses rear grip. It gets really, really loose. He's locked it down. He's trying to spot the wall, trying to spot where he's going, and he does a great job. You see this tire start to roll again. He gets off the brakes, starts to drive the car. This onboard is going to have a great shot of it. You're going to see here and listen.
3 wide right here. Now just easy.
He does a great job. You hear him right before he spins. He starts to breathe it. He knows he's in trouble. And then as he starts to lose it, he gets out of it. He gets it locked up.
But you could see when he got behind the 20 and the 78, he had 2 cars in front of him. That took all the air off his car. And when it did, around that thing went. That's a sign for me that these cars are not handling great.
And you see here, it's a great opportunity to see some of the safety initiatives in this car. When that 19 gets sideways, you see the distance between the car and the asphalt. It starts to lift. As that car lifts, the roof flap opens, the hood flap opens, the car settles back down. That's huge. You know, 15, 20 years ago, that car might fly. We might have a car rolling.
It enables air to get into the cockpit area so that an air can get under the car so that it doesn't tip over?
So the idea is very simple. The car makes downforce going forward, but when the car gets sideways, it makes lift, which is the same thing that makes an airplane fly. Bad for staying on the ground. When the roof flaps open, it slows the air down around the top of the car, which basically reverses the effects of the lift, pushes the car back to the racetrack. The hood flaps open to let the air that's packing in that wheel opening out, so it can't pick up on the front of the race car. All of those things sound complicated, but it's really simple. 3,400-pound stock car going sideways at 200 miles an hour wants to get airborne. Those things keep the car on the ground.
Another big one in turns 1 and 2 at Daytona. You look at Brian Scott in the 33. Fire underneath that car. He'll have to come to a stop. Fire extinguishers putting that out inside of the car. Involved in this, the 19 of Carl Edwards. It might have been the 33 of Brian Scott that got up underneath him.
I think they were approaching a lap car and getting into turn 1. Let's see, and that caused some issues.
A lot of smoke inside that car for Brian Scott. Safety crew to him quickly. And the window net down, always a good indicator. You see the head being shaken by Carl Edwards. He cannot believe the bad luck that he has already had tonight.
Guys, we tried real hard there. That was, I don't know what else to do. We made the deal. We're just going to race. We could have sat in the back. That is what we raced.
There, you heard him. He thought he was in the back of the pack and out of the possibility of danger. Take a look at what happens. The 42 of Kyle Larson completely sideways.
He gets down to the apron. You see the sparks where the track bar mount hits the ground. He saves it, but he comes up the track, has no choice but to connect with the 19, who then starts to spin. Brad Keselowski gets a face full of sparks. The 17 does go around, and now the track is blocked. Now these guys are trying to find a hole through, and the 2 gets woed up, and the 3 kind of gets woed up, but then you see Carl Edwards goes back up the track, and here comes Brian Scott with a full head of steam, makes big contact with the back of the 19.
Yeah, Brian Scott looked like he was going to be able to get through this clean. He was accelerating to try to get by the cars, but then up came Carl Edwards from the bottom of the track.
There's nothing you can do in that situation. You know, he just was coming at such a high rate of speed. Really nothing Brian Scott could have done.
Let's ride along with Carl. This will be a wild ride, too.
You see Carl, he's watching. We're going around a lap car right here. See, Larson just gets loose. Car goes around, tries to shoot the middle, just didn't clear him.
So Jeff, my question is, going around that lap car, did that get him loose in that situation?
Well, you know,
possibly. Let's take a look at the number of lead changes tonight presented by Sprint. 18 already. We have a new leader out front of the field. You can follow Miss Sprint Cup as the big one's happening once again. Coming out of turn number 4. Into the wall. Kyle Larson. Multiple cars sideways. Martin Truex Jr., a lot of damage to the front end of his car. Eric Almirola also involved. There's Kyle Larson. Damage to the front end. Once again, coming out of turn number 4. A tricky spot on this track. Casey Kane, who was running up front all day. A lot of damage to the right front. Eric Almirola already in the garage. The Smithfield Ford had been running well, and now in the garage. Kyle Larson will have to make his way into the garage as well. This is why.
We've seen this time and time again. The 20 tries to come down on the 5. I don't know if he actually makes contact with the 5 or just the air gets him loose. Man, and then it's just a mess, right? When you have trouble in front of that many cars, there's just nowhere to go. You see the 9 spinning, trying to avoid it. Once the smoke is that thick, there's just nowhere to go.
All these cars behind him right now, they're just trying to find somewhere to go, but there just never is. You just keep piling in. You're on the brakes. The guys behind you are running into you. You know, it's just a big. This is plate racing. This is what we talk about. This is what the drivers fear.
Right along with Tony Stewart.
Step in here, back it down, come down low, come down low, come down low, all the way down, all the way down. Come on down, come on down, come on down. Stay right there, stay there, stay there, stay there, stay there. What's happening?
The vision of these drivers amazed me. It almost sounded like he was out of the gas before we even saw sparks. Like he knew this was not going to work.
You can see Matt Kenseth, he never got touched by Casey Kane. He tried to fill that spot. The air got taken off the back of the car, got loose, around he went, caused a big wreck.
There's that air cushion that Martin Truex Jr. was mentioning earlier. They didn't actually make contact, but around went the 20.
Yeah, we've seen this. This is the 4th incident we've seen where cars start to get spun around just by being around other cars or being in situations where they had a lot of air and then they lost it. So this is something new. We haven't been seeing this at Daytona.
We talked about track position at the top of the night. The 88 on the last pit stop decided to take 4 tires. You see him right here in the screen. He's back in about 4th or 5th position. And right here, he side drafts the 27, moves up, gets a great push by the 41. And what I really want you to see is the 41 never gets to the 88's bumper. The 88 has so much speed that a car length back, he shoves the 88. The 11 comes up the block. 88 with a crossover move, 88 to the lead. I know he's the leader, and that seems important, but think about this. Before he made that move, he was right next to Casey Kane in the pack. Casey Kane is now damaged on pit road.
Kyle Larson on the hook. He will go back into the garage. The big one once again at Daytona. Welcome back. Danica Patrick into the wall in turn number 2. The pack catching up to her as they go down the backstretch. They will go by her on the outside, and
Tire guys, pretty good right front damage.
sounds like the caution has come out now.
Right side.
Marty, what happened with the
4
10?
tires of fuel.
Well, guys, I told you a moment ago in the commercial break, she said over the radio, quote, I heard a lot of noise a moment ago, and they weren't sure what was wrong. They were looking at the car every time they came by. They didn't see anything, but clearly something broke on the 10 car. Remember, they've been in a couple of accidents throughout the evening. They've repaired the car fairly well, but obviously something broke on the 10 car eventually.
She was running in the 28th position. She was the last car on the lead lap. She was by herself over in turn number 2. Take a look and a listen.
Here, guys, coming inside you, then you're all good. No caution yet. Keep rolling. Caution is out. Keep rolling. All you got. The pack is just off at 2. Get on the apron.
Certainly seemed to me like a right front went down. Probably with the damage they had before, it probably got cut on something, rubbed something, and rubbed a hole in it. That would be my guess.
See all the tape
We
that
gotta
they
go to the
put on.
garage here. Suspension's broke.
Where we are right now, not only does Junior have to block, but Jimmy Johnson has to block too. He's leading that second group, so if he can block at the right time and get some momentum from the car coming behind him, that might could push him past Junior.
And that's the problem. You have no commitment. Jimmy Johnson has no commitment from Denny Hamlin. What Jimmy really wants to do is roll out of the throttle or drag the brake, stack that line up and get the shove out. But if he touches the brake, Denny Hamlin's going to pull out of line. It's very hard at this point in the race to be second or third and try to organize a run.
Jeff Gordon on the bottom trying to make something happen, but again, it's 3 wide behind him, so there's no help.
Only 6 laps of racing to go. Jeff Gordon running in the 5th position.
So Jeff Gordon
Wide behind him.
He cleared. Which line does he go to? Now Harvick's not quite clear. Harvick's on the outside of him. Now, boom, he didn't make a commitment.
Oh, and around goes the car behind him. That's the 6, or excuse me, the 9. A very close call there for Sam Hornish Jr. in the 9. The caution comes out. Now we're getting closer to the possibility of a green-white checker.
I think that's an advantage for the 88. I think we've seen every restart. He leaves the line with a huge advantage. He gets them too wide behind him. He's out there clearing his own. He can block the top. He can block the bottom. I think there's a lot of opportunity for the 88. He's been great on these restarts. The biggest concern he has right now is will they get organized? And I think the best thing for him is there is a wide variety of teammates behind him. Johnson, Hamlin, Bain, Harvick, Menard. I would be more concerned if I saw 2 or 3 Joe Gibbs cars, 2 or 3 Stewart Haas cars. I see a plethora of teammates.
I tell you something else too, starting side by side with another Hendrick Power. So can that power slow Earnhardt down? Can Johnson get a good enough restart here to go side by side with him and ultimately side draft him? And then it's going to turn into who does the best job of behind each group of pushing the car in front.
An incredible amount of damage to the front end of the 9 of Sam Hornish Jr. You see a lot of dirt that was drug out onto the track. They will have to clean up.
Splitter's stuck on the racetrack, ain't get moving.
Let's look back at what happened. The wild ride that Sam Hornish Jr. had.
We've seen
Murray
this.
got together.
Yeah, we have. We've seen this time and time again. You see the splitter makes huge contact with the grass. The car starts to bounce. Luckily, it lands on all four and just continues to spin. But we've seen this. The 9 goes to make a move, looks for that inside line, wasn't clear of the 1, drives across his nose, ends up spinning through the grass.
Tore the splitter completely off when it grabbed the grass initially. And then once again,
Look at that.
hit hard and up into the air. A wild ride for Sam Hornish Jr.
He's still driving it. Look at those hands. Still driving it.
And listen, I know I make it sound simple that he drives across the 1, but Sam Hornish is trying to go forward. He's not changing lanes to get out of the way. He's changing lanes to try to get in the right lane and try to make something happen. All the way back in 13th, these guys are still looking for an advantage.
So they're actually watching the broadcast. Chad Knaus saw our replay and said, we're seeing that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is signaling the car behind him to go.
Which I'm sure Jimmy already knew that because I've seen him signal as well. That's why Dale signals out that left side window. Doesn't give Jimmy an advantage to be able to see it.
And the other reason is his arm's not long enough to reach out the right side of the window.
It's excellent.
Here they come into the tri-oval. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the inside. Green, white checker. Green flag back in the air.
No help right here. If I get tight here, you should get pushed by him here. It's about quarter marker 1 and 2, and he's still there.
Kurt Busch in the 41, trying to force his way up the middle, 3 wide. It's go time. Just 2 laps of racing to go at Daytona.
88 got a good start. Now it's all about blocking. He's going to have to block these big runs that are going to come from the 11 and the 48.
The only other car to get by the 88 tonight has been the 48. Now Denny Hamlin running second. Side by side for third. Kevin Harvick in the 4. Jimmy Johnson in the 48. This time by, they'll see the white flag. Dale Earnhardt Jr. back to the bottom of the racetrack to block. White flag in the air one more time around Daytona.
11, one bottom. Here he comes.
They're side by side for second. 2-car length lead for Dale Earnhardt Jr. as they work their way through 1 and 2, and down the backstretch they go. Jr. blocking the lower line. Does that give the advantage to the 48? Jr. jumps up in front of Jimmy Johnson. To the bottom of the racetrack, Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to stay in front of the pack. They work their way through 3 and 4. Into the tri-oval they come. Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the bottom of the track. Jr. will win at Daytona. And the big one happens behind them.
Oh my God.
The 3 of Austin Dillon into the catch fence. All the crews getting out to that car to assist these drivers. Thumbs going up from all the crew members, and the crowd roars. Look at the catch fence on the front straight. Members pulling. Austin Dillon out. He's walking. The damage to the 4 of Kevin Harvick. What an incredible sight to see Austin Dillon walking away from that 3 car that is demolished.
Unbelievable impact. Austin Dillon, watch this replay. when he gets into the catch fence, the car comes to a complete stop. I've never seen a car stop that quickly before.
And again, they're going upwards of 190 miles an hour through the tri-oval. You see where that car got up into the air and into the catch fence. And as you mentioned, it came to a stop right there. Safety crews continue to check on all of the drivers that were involved in this incident. Let's take another look. Dale Earnhardt Jr. crossing the start-finish line, winning the race, but then the accident takes place behind him.
Yeah, the 11 gets kind of stuck in the middle there and comes across the 4's bumper. As he does, he spins back in, gets the 3 airborne, and he just gets projected off the other cars right up into the fence.
He went from the bottom of the racetrack over 2 rows of cars and into that catch fence.
Here we go. You can see him on the bottom. Rex starts in front. He runs in the back of the 24. Gets up on the 11. Now he's on top of the 55. Now it's just along for the ride.
Yeah,
watch the car stop. Watch the car stop. It gets into those poles, and it goes from, I don't know what, 180, 190 miles an hour, I'm just guessing, to a complete stop. That is unbelievable.
And it looks like a tour. That's 3,500 pounds. That stock car is extremely heavy. You see here, after he's upside down, the 2 is spinning. Obviously, he's already lost control, makes more contact with the 3.
$11 and the 4 to get together. Here we are at the start-finish line.
It just pushes the 3 up into the air enough that it rolls over the top of the car. And then that momentum just continues to move him into the catch fence. Let's ride along with Kevin Harvick.
Top's covered. Middle's open. Come on. Oh, we got a terrible wreck behind you. Just hold it straight, buddy. Hold it straight.
And you heard Kevin Harvick, as much as he wants to get to the start-finish line, as he sees the 11 start to spin, he's out of the gas. It's just line after line of car pushing everyone through there.
Take another look at this real time. According to track safety, they are attending to 3 fans in the grandstands. Some debris did get through that fence. One of the most amazing things I've seen tonight, and we've seen a lot of incredible things, but one of the most amazing things is when that crew pulled Austin Dillon out of the 3, and Austin Dillon is able to walk out of that accident, out of that crash, and then acknowledge the fans by waving to them.
I hope everybody's okay. That's a scary, scary accident, but I just know
A lot of cars involved as they had crossed the start-finish line.
You saw those crew members running out to the car, you know, to go check on him. I know NASCAR doesn't like that, but you have to appreciate the compassion those teams showed, trying to get out there to try to help him and get there as quickly as they could.
Well, that sign there, when those crew members put the thumbs up, and they knew, they were all looking around going, okay, I know we're not supposed to be out here, but that looks so incredible. Hang on, this will be a wild ride. That was Tony Stewart going underneath the 3. And here was the response from Austin Dillon after he got out, pulled the helmet off. The crowd was roaring at this point in time.
Yeah, this has to be the best sight of the night. You know, this is the The scary part of auto racing is when you see a big accident, you see Austin Dillon get out. He's removing, what he's removing there is his head and neck restraint. It connects to his helmet to keep his helmet from overextending somewhere. A Hans device, that's another version of it. Another safety innovation really that's been required in NASCAR for a few years now.
Here's the end of the race once again.
Just an unbelievable impact. You know, we talk about how the soft walls and the impact there, but the catch fencing, as it gives, it needs to give to a point. It kind of grabs and just stops the car almost instantaneously.
And an explosion when that car hits that fence. You could hear it. You could almost feel it. Here's Tony Stewart. The car will go right over the top of Tony.
Just never seen a car stop at that rate. I mean, going from that fast to essentially zero. So, you know, and that's what scared me, to be quite honest with you, when I saw it, how quickly he stopped. Because just like we talked about angle of impacts on walls, you know, when a car stops that quickly, the driver's got to be feeling that. There's got a lot of be going on inside that race car, and it honestly scared me. Thought about, you know, his dad, his mom, Mike Dillon, his granddad, his grandmother. I mean, that's the first thing was going through my mind.
The reinforced catch fences. After Kyle Larson in the Xfinity race got into that fence, they worked on it, they honed it, they tried to reinforce it. That car, obviously 3,500 pounds, it was able to shear off two of the poles on the front stretch. We're hearing from NASCAR that the safety and the health and services there, they're attending to 3 fans in the grandstands, but they're attending to them with minor injuries, is what we're hearing.
That's wonderful news, because as you see, you know, the car stays mostly intact as far as the driver compartment is concerned, but there's a tremendous amount of pieces missing off that car. The entire front engine is missing, and you know, it doesn't take a small piece at that speed. It can be a dangerous item. So it's great to hear that they're attending to minor injuries, right. and the car, even as damaged as it is, the driver compartment is intact, which is great. It kept its integrity around the driver the best it could. You see here the solid sheet steel next to the driver, and the driver's door stayed intact. The floor pan is intact.
The 2, the 11, and the 6, all involved in this accident, have been to the infield care center. They've been checked and released. And that might be the best sight we saw all evening and into the morning.